This video is brought to you by GameMaker, and if you've ever wanted to get into game development, GameMaker does this really crazy thing where it's free, just start making, and only pay when you want to release your game to the world commercially.
It's fast, it's user-friendly, and there's easy-to-follow tutorials, plus a dedicated community to help answer even my questions. How make man jump? GameMaker is a 2D game engine that's helped bring some of yours and my favorite recent experiences to life, like UFO 50, Chicory, Anton Blast, and of course, Yahtzee's own Starstruck Vagabond.
Ooh, are we talking about GameMaker? I love that program, it's so easy to use. As well as Starstruck Vagabond, I also used it to make all 12 projects in my 12 games in 12 months Dev Diary challenge. And I couldn't believe how much sex I got out of that. None. I got none at all, which I couldn't believe.
So what are you waiting for? Head on over to the GameMaker link in the description and start cracking away today, because we want to play your game.
Yeah, looking through this list, I'm seeing one of you made Armpit Fart Tycoon, and I've got several questions for you.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Windbreaker podcast. I'm Yahtzee. I'm joined by Jay and Marty, and some very clever sort of visual effects that Eric has supplied.
I don't want to like throw a spotlight on anyone, but someone's celebrating an HBD today.
Oh, well, no, they aren't.
It's not me. My HBD is next week.
They celebrated it 2 days ago, to be exact.
It's your podcast HBD, though.
It's your podcast HBD. Think about that.
Okay, fine.
HBD.
Happy birthday to me. You can all donate to Super Chats to...
and buy Starstruck Vagabond and buy Yahtzee's books and bake bread in his honor.
Yeah, Phoenix tier patron.
Do all of those things. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
And this week, we're to get us forcefully onto the subject, we're talking about marketing in the world of video games and when marketing techniques have worked on me. Because I think it's fair to say video game marketing has been a bit of a no man's land over the years. I want to say not much marketing works on me, but then it's not supposed to, because I already know I'm going to buy all the big games because it's my job.
Yeah.
And you purposely like stay away from, we'll do an episode probably in 2 weeks where we run down the big Summer Game Fest announcements and everything, but you purposely kind of remove yourself from that so that when you enter the review process, you can kind of like a newborn babe into the world.
Yes. I try to avoid hype. Obviously, if we're doing like a bit, I'll watch some trailers for a podcast or something, but generally speaking, I try to avoid reading video game news, behind the scenes drama, hype, and the like, because I find that if you go into a game with any sort of expectation, that can taint it.
Yeah. Were you that way when you were like a kid? Like it was in like the 90s, were you that way? Because we were talking beforehand, we both have a fondness for video game magazines and the weird wild west of the advertising in them.
No, of course. Like as a kid, I was more open to video game marketing because I wasn't going to buy or play every single video game that it came out. And I needed to know if I wanted something. And yes, as you say, I grew up at a time when video game magazine advertising was quite a lawless field. There's a couple of like classic examples from British video game magazines. There was one, I think it was Battlecruiser 30,000 AD, advertised itself with just a picture of a naked woman with the box art in front of her dirty bits.
Yeah.
And that was literally it. That was the whole ad.
Yeah. It's shocking. It's shocking. There was, I remember, I believe it was an old PS2 ad where it was a couple. It was like a guy and a girl, and they're wearing incredibly tight shirts, and they each had nipple rings. But the 4 nipple rings between the two of them were in the shapes of the PlayStation controller. So like a circle, a triangle, an X, and a square. And
That's
I'm like,
genius.
well, I don't know what you're advertising, but I'm interested. What's going on here?
PlayStation ads have always been mental.
Yeah, they had David Lynch direct a bunch of PS2 ads, and I'm like, who? He seems like the literal last person in the world who should be directing ads.
That man has never picked up a PlayStation controller in his life.
No.
How do you know? He could be big into Crackdown, for all you know.
Could you imagine if he was a big Crackdown fan? But wouldn't be PlayStation, that'd be Xbox. He was a big Xbox.
He's been in talks to direct the Crackdown movie for years.
Oh yes, he was trying to sabotage PlayStation. That was why none of it made any sense.
That was his grand plan.
Of course, back in the day, I did a video on marketing stunts, specifically the ones performed by Acclaim back in the day.
Yeah,
they tried to jig up notoriety by offering to, amongst other things, pay people money if they would put the name of their game on the gravestone of a recently deceased relative. They offered to pay people money. They offered to pay for people's parking tickets and speeding tickets on the day that the specific racing game came out.
Incredible.
And
they
got into a lot of trouble for all of that.
Sure. Well, there's a lot of examples of marketing stunts gone wrong. Sorry, what were you saying, Jay?
The stunts are the interesting one, right? Because there's lots of examples, I'm sure, where we can talk about absurd magazine examples and trailers, which I'm sure we'll get into. But the idea of just doing a stunt where the absurdity of the stunt, say paying for parking tickets when the game comes out, the word of mouth of just the company having the balls and the audacity to do that is the marketing itself.
Well, it can't have been that effective because I can't remember what the fucking game was that they were advertising.
Well, one was
it may have worked at the time.
Yeah, there was I even remember stuff. I believe one of the Godfather games sent brass knuckles in the mail to journalists, and then immediately was like, "You need to send them back because it is illegal. It is a felony in the United States to mail brass knuckles." And you're like, "So you want me to mail them back?" Like, no, you committed the felony. I don't want to be a third party to this.
Because then we'll be a felon as well if we mail them. Of course, there was the Dante's Inferno marketing campaign. I've told this story many times, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But they sent me a box. They sent me a box that was part of because they were doing like different marketing things all themed around the deadly sins. Like they sent like free food tokens to people to represent gluttony, and to me they were sending something that was emblematic of the sin of wrath. They thought that would suit me best. Who knows why? But while I was in the escapist offices for unrelated reasons, they sent in like a wooden box that just had like no text on it, no like explanatory letter, just a wooden box addressed to me. And when I opened the box, there was nothing in it but like a Hessian bag. But then the box started playing music. It started playing "Never Gonna Give Me Up" by Rick Astley, because at the time the meme was still fresh. And I tried to close the box, and the music kept going. The music was like, it was set up so it would start playing music the moment you opened the box, but then there was no way to turn it off.
You said it's true.
And I opened the bag, and inside the bag was a pair of goggles and a hammer. So obviously I smashed the shit out of the box to get out the circuitry and the workings of the box and unplug the battery. And next to the battery was a little scroll. And on the scroll was written, "You are guilty of the sin of wrath. Go to hell. Dante's Inferno coming out such and such date."
I'm gonna be honest, that is a really good marketing campaign.
That's great.
Well, it helped Dante's Inferno stick out in my memory much more than playing the fucking game did. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Imagine if someone at customs opened that just to check what's inside, right? Oh,
yeah.
It looks like there's a hammer in here. We might as well like open it to have a look. And it just starts playing, and they're like, I guess package this up and send it back.
A note says you're going to hell. I remember one of the last big stunts was for Homefront. During GDC in San Francisco, they released, it was something like 20,000 red balloons into the air, and the wind carried all of them into the bay. And San Francisco, being San Francisco, was like, that is insane pollution you guys have just caused. Like that is an insane amount of like plastic or rubber or whatever the fuck is in balloons that like sea lions are going to be eating.
There was a similar story when someone was trying to break the world record for most balloons released at a single event, and it was like some massive disaster.
Yeah, like they ran into like power lines and took power lines down, and People were
Yes.
like
They picked up an old man's house, and he went all the way to Central America.
I know.
Yes, there's often like the argument made by marketing assholes that there's no such thing as bad publicity. I think it was at the God of War 2 launch party that they physically sacrificed a live goat.
Jesus.
Yeah.
See that?
It's
Oh,
true.
wants to see
It's true. Obviously, there was a lot of complaints about that as well.
Can you guys think of any from memorable games? So not including God of War, but you said like.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You don't need this shit if it's you don't need this shit if the game's actually memorable and good.
Yeah, I think usually if like studios kind of know what how a game's going to be received long before it comes out, and so I think it's one of those. Well, we can't do anything to fix the game at this point, but we can put money in the marketing department.
Yeah, because the thing about marketing, like, is that it's long been the case in Hollywood, at least, that if the people pushing the film kind of already know that it's bad, then they will push the marketing as hard as they can just to make sure as many people as possible watch it on the opening weekend before word of mouth gets around.
Says anything about it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we're focusing a lot on negative marketing, but Snake in the Garden mentions Daikatana, which is probably arguably one of the most infamous examples of marketing that it felt like Babe Ruth like pointing and calling his shot and then just whiffing and striking out.
I guess my question would be
because I don't know of the Daikatana.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the famous Daikatana ad that was published in magazines when I was a kid was literally just a full-page ad with nothing on it except text in the middle, simply saying, "John Romero's about to make you his bitch." And as I was about to say, if the game had been really good, I think that would have been remembered a lot more positively.
I think so.
That was really effective guerrilla marketing.
Yeah,
if you want to call it that.
Because it was at this, like, John Romero, one of the earliest sort of known video game auteurs, or at least known developers. I mean, like, oh man, it's following up Doom with this. Oh, look how positive he is that the game's going to be good. This is going to be great.
Yes.
And then
he's certainly confident.
Yeah, that is arguably one of the funniest ones.
Yes,
like
confidence. Confidence, of course, can come from either being a genius or from being massively self-deluded.
Sure.
And they're that's about equally as common, I suppose.
Speaking of physical ads, I bring up this one a lot, but the Earthbound scratch and sniff stickers.
Oh, God.
Like Nintendo US had no idea how to market Earthbound, understandably, because it was just a very strange game at the time. And so one of the things was a series of scratch and sniff ads. And it would be like, oh, you can smell a hamburger, or you can smell this mushroom, or you can smell a pile of puke, because that's one of the enemies. I guess in hindsight, it kind of fits the weirdness of the game. Like, it is kind of a charming tie-in.
I don't know. It's sort of taking a more, what would you say, sophomoric angle when Earthbound's tone is much quirkier than that. Yeah.
I guess it's like a surface level reading of it.
It's making jokes about farts and bogeys and stuff when Earthbound is, I want to say, more innocent than that.
Yeah.
I think it would be a lot easier to market Earthbound in today's day and age because of how subversive it is. Like,
there's like 500 indie games that are all ripping off Earthbound.
Yeah, but not even just that, but in the day and age of like Inscription and Doki Doki Literature Club and stuff like that, games where you go in expecting a certain amount of, like, a certain idea of what the game's going to be like, and then it completely subverts that with what it's actually doing.
It was ahead of its time.
They do for those, the trailers they do for that can be very simple, and then like even show you just a frame of something very weird, and that is enough, right?
Yeah.
That is like, we're trying to not tell you too much, right?
Wanderstop even did a similar thing when it was revealed. It was revealed as like a cozy farming sim, and then the initial trailer kind of ends with the main character having a panic attack, and then flashes of like what the main character did before she got to the Grove. And so you're like, oh shit, this is what this game is about. Which I think was pretty effective.
Yeah. So what about video game marketing that we think is effective and is good? In my view, the only really valid way to inform people about a game is a playable demo.
Yeah.
That might be just the best way, especially if your game is good.
Yes.
Like
It used to be the standard practice, all those magazines we talked about with their free cover discs or cover tapes. In my case, when I was playing Commodore 64 games,
Serial would have it. Like you'd have Serial with discs that would have.
Well, in that case, that was the whole game. In the case of Chex Quest,
yeah.
That wasn't a demo. They just fucking flat out released a whole game with a serial box.
There's some marketing that works very well, but didn't work on me. And that's the No Man's Sky trailers and marketing push they did after that. I, as someone who works in the industry, saw the trailers for that and what they were promising and was like, there's no way in hell they've done that with a team of that size. That game's going to be a mess.
Yes.
And I had friends who were like, yeah, but have you seen the trailers? They're so good. Like, it's everything they're promising. And it's like, no, no, it's not.
Yes, well, us savvy insiders can look at the No Man's Sky gameplay, open quotes, gameplay trailer and say, that is not live gameplay.
It's bullshit, yeah.
That's because we know all the signs. We're savvy. We can look at it and say, everything's timed too well. Everything's timed to crack off the moment the player looks at it. And the way they're moving around is not... They're not moving around the way people actually move.
Yeah, they're moving around like a ghost, not like
someone
being sporadic with their mice. Yeah.
Yes, because that's why. I used to say only trust gameplay trailers. Now I can't even say that.
Yeah.
Don't even trust the gameplay trailers. Trust nothing. Trust demos. Nothing else.
Yeah, demos. Between stuff like Next Fest, which obviously allows smaller indie games to kind of get the word out before they release, and then my favorite thing now is when a new game comes out, and this is specifically in longer games, but they'll release a relatively chunky demo that when you finish it, you can then buy the game and continue your progress. And I think it mostly works in longer games that kind of take a while to get to the core gameplay loop. But that was like Dragon Quest XI, Pikmin 4, even Metaphor ReFantazio had the same thing. And I think that's a really effective way to do that.
That's much closer in spirit to shareware, isn't it?
Yeah.
Back in the day. The old thing where they, like Doom, famously, for example, and Duke Nukem 3D and all those games, they just gave away literally the entire first episode of the game, and made you pinky swear to buy the rest if you really liked it. And therefore, like most people only played the first chapter of Doom.
That was like the game to them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of specific. I've been rewatching a couple old. Yesterday I rewatched E3 2011, the 6 conferences from E3 2011, which had some highs and some lows. It was like the reveal of the Wii U, which kind of it took a lot of air out of the room. But when it comes to those old trailers, like there were certain trailers at E3 that you would see, especially if they kind of came out of nowhere, that would be really exciting. Like the re-reveal of God of War 2018, I think at E3 2016, because God of War had been like dormant for years and years, and the trailer very much started as like, who is this kid? This is like a Norse setting. No one thought it was God of War until the reveal of Kratos, and then the music comes up, and I think there was a live orchestra to
100%.
it. Yeah, and that was one of those like, holy shit, like. And luckily the game ended up being good. Like if the game was a sticker, that would have.
It wasn't much like God of War, as God of War had been established up to that point. But yeah, they put Kratos' face on it and made a lot of money. Congratulations.
I think a game that did that for me would be BioShock Infinite when it was first revealed. The stark difference. I mean, from below to the the clouds, the stark difference, the juxtaposition of the setting. And the slow reveal of it being a BioShock game really got me excited to the point where I think I've said it before, I've pre-ordered that game like 5 times and they kept delaying it, the fuckers. But that really works. When you take it, like with God of War, you take an established franchise, an established setting, and then take it in a new direction, but have that familiarity, it really feels scary.
Yeah, BioShock's an interesting one though, because that had some of the bullshit of No Man's Sky, because some of those early trailers had gameplay that was never intended to be in the game, or eventually was not in the game. Like I think the early footage showed that you could kind of create tears and go through almost like Titanfall 2 level, like go into different dimensions whenever you want. And so in the middle of combat, you could hit a button and suddenly you'd walk through a tear and see a marquee for Revenge of the Jedi or whatever. So like an alternate universe where Return of the Jedi was named what it was originally named.
Well, that's the double-edged sword of hyping, isn't it? I mean,
that's.
I think of what was it? I think it was Dying Light 2 that we saw when we went to E3 in 2019.
Okay.
Like went in the full-on guided trailer experience where we go in and watch someone play it. And they were at that time they were making a big hash of the fact that every time you played the game would be different because the choices you make would lock off certain parts of the sandbox and open up others. So you'd have a completely different map to play in depending on what choices you made. And then I played through the game when I got it, and I was like, "Hey, wait a minute! None of that shit is here." They were making such a big fuss about it. Like it was the whole focus of the trailer. It was like the cliffhanger of the trailer. It's like, "Hey, look, we drained all the water from this area, so now this is the one we can explore because of this choice we made." But it wasn't in the final game. And I was like, surely there should be some kind of international tribunal for this kind of thing. You get people hyped up.
Bullshot should be illegal.
Yeah, you get people hyped up on that. Then you just like didn't make it into the final product. I mean,
it was interesting
because
Dark Souls 2 did a similar thing. When Dark Souls 2 was initially revealed, there was this really complex, in-depth lighting system. Like caves would be pitch black, but you'd have your torch and it would cast incredible shadows. And the thing is, I saw that game running in real time with that lighting before it came out. And I was like, this looks incredible. But it was running on like a fucking NORAD PC. And that was not how the game looked like when you bought it on, whatever Xbox One or 360 or whatever console it is. Whatever console it released on.
Do you ever speculate on how much electricity the LA Convention Center uses during E3? I remember once I was playing like a multiplayer game in like a demonstration, and there was a fucking brownout that we had to restart.
God.
In like the middle of the entire convention center?
No, just like the room like browned out. We had to restart the demo.
Not just all of this.
I was at,
not just like the screens and the LEDs and everything, but also just like the fucking air conditioning to keep that place from not being 110 degrees.
It's got to be like fucking NASA, the amount of electricity they use. How many just estimate how many live like monitor screens are active at any one moment in the LA Convention Center?
In a single room as well. It's just
ridiculous. I think 1,000 would be a conservative estimate.
Sure. Yeah. One thing I kind of hate in marketing is when people use numbers. Not numbers. Okay, that was dumb. But when people try to brag about their game because it has X amount of something in it. When someone's like, look how thick our script is. And I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. Like, I could go insane and write a 10,000 page script that's fucking terrible.
How many barks are you going to have, right?
When I was putting together the Steam page for my game, The Consuming Shadow, the producer I was working with said, quote some numbers on your blurb, because this is what people latch onto mentally. Like list how many different kinds of dungeons there are, how many different monsters there are, how many different possible like outcomes there are for such and such. Because people like the bullet pointed lists. People like that's apparently this is an effective tactic.
I don't know.
Because I can sort of understand, because if you just be vague and like say, world of adventure awaits, that could fucking mean anything. Anyone, your eyes just sort of slide off that.
Sure.
But if you literally say, we have 250 levels, that gets you thinking, oh, that's quite a lot. That will probably take you a while to get through.
Yeah, but I feel like there's certain numbers to where if you say, if there's a first-person shooter and you say 15 completely different weapons, in your mind, you're like, okay, cool. If they're all different, maybe that leads to like some interesting different play styles or synergies. But if you say our map is 15 times the size of Skyrim, well, fucking what are you putting in it? Like,
well, that works for me in the specific case of Just Cause 2. It's something like the mile in that, the size of the map in that is insane. It's like 35 real world miles across each edge. And that worked for me because that game is just like a go anywhere, mess around sandbox where you can get into a fighter jet and fly across the map.
Yeah.
And the real sense of distance and bigness of things really helps like create the sense of speed when you're like rocketing across the map. But yeah, I agree with you. If it's something like Red Dead Redemption 2, where all that extra space just creates the travel time, where literally nothing's happening except you're going past bushes. Not Ghost of Tsushima, Assassin's Creed Shadows as well. Hey, I got those two confused. It had to happen eventually.
Who'd have thought? It's the thing with No Man's Sky, right? That's one of the massive red flags was their descriptions of the scale. I was like, same with Starfield. They were like, we've got X amount of planets, and I was like, this is going to be wank. Like, there's no way they can do it. And I remember talking to people and being like, there's no way they can do that. And they're like, yeah, but they're Bethesda, right? They've got the resources to do that. And I'm like, have you seen their other stuff, right? Like,
there's
no way they're going to populate
Starfield said we have 1,000 planets, and I was like, 990 of them are going to be extremely boring. Like, they are going to be procedurally generated, just fucking boring ass moons.
And that's the paradox, right, of numbers. I, as a gamer, would be much more interested if they went, we have 3 planets.
Yeah.
And there's like a scale. If you then go above like 10, I'm like,
you're like,
there's no way.
There's no way tender love and care could be given to each one of these.
So
I mean, it's saying like your map is the size of Just Cause 2 is about the upper limit for that sort of thing. If you say we have literally got a map the entire size of the literal Earth, like you feel like, a lot of that's going to be empty space, much like the real Earth.
Isn't that the next No Man's Sky game? The next game from Hello Games is supposed to be. It is set on a single planet that is the size of Earth.
Look,
guys, they learned their mistakes from last time. They learned their mistakes.
Hey,
7 years after the game comes out, it's going to be great. You just
I'd be really interested to see how that game does on launch, because I've heard I need to dive back into it, but like, they've improved the game and it's getting to the point of what they promised when it first came out and stuff like that. And people are going back. But also, are they going to do that for the next one? Or are they going to release another broken thing and then wait for the audience to give them another 7 years to do it?
Yeah. Another incident of number-based hype that didn't work on me was when I was at a hype event for, I think it was Dragon Age 1. And the writers came on and said, we have got 9 novels worth of dialogue. And my reaction was, who the fuck sits down to read 9 novels in a sitting?
That is ridiculous.
Who the fuck cares? I just want to kill dragons with swords.
Yeah, that's
I write, like you said, I write books. I'm an appreciator of the written word, but I don't like games that bang on too much with that sort of thing.
Maybe that does work on people though. If David Cage shows you how tall his script is for Beyond Two Souls, maybe people are like, "Oh, damn! Look how tall that script is."
I think
that's a very early Trump administration tactic, isn't it?
Look how big our bill is.
Thinking, because what we have to remember is obviously we're critics, right? This is our job, and we've been doing this for a while, so we view things through a different lens. But for the general consumer, when someone says my script is this long for the game, for them maybe it equates to, well, the world must have this much depth to it. Whereas, if you've played a lot of games, if you say I've got 9 novels worth of dialogue in the game, most of that's going to be taken up with Susie saying, oh, I can't find the bathroom, I'm going to shit myself, right? Just barks from random NPCs.
What the hell kind of games have you been playing?
That's a direct quote from Dragon Age 1. Nobody go check that. But it's we view things through a different lens.
I would respect a Dragons and Fantasy RPG where the central plot was, I really need to take a shit.
Yeah.
They keep trying to go to take a shit, and it's like a yes and they just keep getting into situations.
And we just go and every time we try to get to a bathroom, the only bathroom around here is at the bottom of that undead skeleton dungeon. And you get there and you find that the bathroom has been stolen by the dragon Vorathax, and you have to go to his dungeon now.
In each cutscene, as the game progresses, their face gets more and more red, and they look like more distressed.
Idle animation is just kind of
and the final yeah, carry on.
And every single option in all the dialogue trees is just shut the fuck up. I'm about to shit myself.
Yeah, the final boss has a timer, and you'll shit yourself if you don't defeat it quick enough.
This is good. This isn't a bad game. This isn't a bad game.
Don't shit your pants too. The Reckoning.
Yeah, that's the marketing. It's like you'll shit yourself.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You will John Romero's about to make you shit your pants.
Yeah, exactly.
What? So another a man who's been popping up in my E3 rewatches is our good friend Peter Molyneux, who might be the king of.
He's the king of
spouting
overpromising.
Yes.
I don't.
The man
think,
who desperately needed parameters to function.
I don't think he's a liar. I think he is incredibly ignorant, or maybe he's like disruptively optimistic. He doesn't come across as a liar to me. I don't know what the difference between these are, but like he doesn't seem like he's trying to pull the wool over your eyes. I think he really thinks these things are going to happen, even though every sane human is like, they are clearly not.
This can't happen, Peter.
What's that popular phrase these days? Toxic positivity?
Is that's he created that?
We can do it. We can do it.
He's the original toxic positivity man.
Yeah, when he brought like that Project Milo out, and he's like, "Here is a boy inside of your Kinect, and you're going to learn to love him like your own child." Like, I don't know if this is going to happen.
Peter, chill out.
Well, you were asking how this shit works on the general public. Shall we find out?
Oh, what a segue! That was a birthday boy segue there, right there.
And there we go. And go to Super Chat. Starting with good old Raven, who gives $5 and says, Raven's weekly word of the week, week 2, capricious, impulsive, and unpredictable.
I know that word.
Don't supply the meaning. I want to see if these are words I know.
Okay,
and yes,
so
I already knew what.
No meaning.
I already knew what capricious meant. Thank you.
I didn't know what last week's one was, but I knew this one.
I wonder if it derives from Capricorn. Looking at it,
it's gotta. It's first half.
I wonder if,
or whatever Capricorn is from.
I wonder if there's an association with goats for being unpredictable.
Or maybe Capri Suns, like the little juice boxes that were hard to open.
I think it's that.
With the little daggers.
Yeah, those could be pretty capricious if you squeeze it too hard.
The Capri
goes
Suns.
in your eye.
Ancient Rome, they're actually a reference to Caesar getting stabbed in the back.
You liar.
There's no way to know if he's telling the truth or not. Maybe he's like Peter Molyneux. He actually believes it's true.
That sounds like one of that sounds like one of those fornication under consent of the king anecdotes that is obviously false.
Yeah.
It's false, but isn't the world a little more fun if it's true?
Definitely. If somebody was like, I want to make a drink that simulates me stabbing Caesar in the back, it's like, I'm gonna
or if we all found out fuck was an acronym, that would be exciting. That'd be an exciting day if we found out fuck was an acronym. It would
be a great day.
A superb owner gives $2 and says, HBD Gollum. Let's hear your best Gollum impression.
Is it Gollum's birthday?
What does that mean? Andy
Is
Serkis?
Gollum's birthday? Is it Andy Serkis' birthday? Is it the release date of the game Gollum?
No, Andy Serkis' birthday, 420. Blaze it.
Oh, there you
go. No, I mean, how do dates work? Like, they don't have regular ass months. And
well, anyway,
Lord of the Rings is never like, damn.
No, because Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship set off from Rivendell in December, I believe, on Christmas Day. So technically, Lord of the Rings is the Christmas movie.
Well, here's my Gollum impression. Hello, I'm Gollum. Precious.
Precious.
Do you have a bathroom? I need to shit myself. Smeagol's birthday is April 20th. What are you talking about? Wait, Andy Serkis and Gollum's birthday is... No, I got tricked. Never mind. I got tricked.
That's how we got the role. They have the same birthday.
You want to know who does share my birthday, though?
Who's that?
Queen Victoria.
Shout out to the Queen.
Wow. Big ups.
Also footballer Eric Cantona has the same birthday
Classic.
as me.
That's not a real man.
Yeah, he was French. He's French. French footballer Eric Cantona.
How dare he?
Kenny Parry? Did he die in the Gourmage?
Kenny Parry?
He was embroiled in a scandal in the 90s because he karate kicked a spectator.
Get the fuck out of here. He might be my favorite.
Amazing.
They probably had it coming, right? They were probably being a dick.
He's the main character of Expedition 33.
Well, they were a spectator at a football match, so yeah, almost certainly they were being a dick.
They were being a dick.
Dr. Theo, member for 16 months in tip jar. Thank you. Who then gives us $5. Thank you again. To say one that almost worked on me was COD Cold War. The mysterious commercials and awesome Warzone event made me excited. And then I saw the gun animation.
How do you like little like ARGs, like mysterious things? What is the Matrix? That kind of
You
thing.
mean like
You guys
you mean like the Dante's Inferno box thing?
Well, yeah, or even like less that, because at least you probably knew that was for the Matrix or for I don't know why I'm thinking about the Matrix. But.
Actually, I didn't know that was for Dante's Inferno until I smashed it open.
Oh, okay.
I love it. I think back to like Battlefield's really convoluted Easter eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Like just hearing rumors of people trying to figure stuff out, and like there's a mystery in the game. That gets me invested because I love a mystery, so I want to play. But I was already playing Batty anyway, so
there you
go. Aaron Ducker gives $10 and says, I was looking for some new point-and-click adventures and noticed one that's coming out tomorrow called Near Mage. So I watched the trailer, and then halfway through I hear a familiar voice. Oh, is that coming out? They didn't tell me, but yes, I voiced a character in that.
Oh, really? That's neat.
Yeah, I like doing voice cameos. Hit me up. I've been meaning to set up a website with an actual email address people can find. Because my emails
comes out tomorrow.
Fine, turns out.
Sick.
Comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm in that. Fuck you.
Incredible.
If you wanna hire me to do a narration or something, get in touch.
It's a game about Transylvania made by developers from Transylvania.
Yeah, it's a real place.
I didn't know that. Is that Romania?
Yeah. It's it's the Transil region of Romania.
What is Transylvania?
Anyway, Raven gives $5 and says, just to be clear, Mr. Croshaw, my word of the week was not originally intended to stump you. I was merely trying to offer a service while tipping. Well, stump me. I like being stumped. My wife came to me over the weekend clutching a crossword book and saying, do you want this crossword? Because I can't get a single one. And it was it was a cryptic crossword, which of course has its own rules. So I took one look over it and said, oh, look, toast topping made Lamar sick. That's marmalade, because made Lamar is an anagram of marmalade, and it has been sickened, that is to say, mixed up.
Wait, it's a fucking crossword puzzle where each clue is also a riddle?
Yeah. Have you never done a cryptic crossword?
No.
Jay, do you know what a cryptic... Have you done cryptic crosswords, Jay?
I've done a couple. I find them difficult to source.
Yeah. Well, my wife got it from like a puzzle book we bought in this country, and on the top it referred to it as a British-style crossword, which I'd never heard before. I just assumed that there was crosswords.
Brits love mysteries.
Well, standard crosswords are like the New York Times crossword, where it's just synonyms for the clues, and the cryptic crossword is the one where every clue is a riddle. Or like a weird...
I love it.
So I guess, is it one of those things where you don't... It's less like knowing the thing. Like crossword puzzles, you kind of need to know the thing. Whereas this, you just need to solve the clue.
Sort of, yeah.
I guess you still need the context, though, because like you wouldn't understand marmalade was the...
Yeah, what was the other... what marmalade is, I guess.
What was it? I think of some of the other ones. One of them was change wheels or quit. And the answer was retire. Or retire.
I like it.
And then there was it was a good one. Popular medical drama, TV's first, is lifeless. Now, what do you think the answer to that would be? It's a 5-letter word.
MASH. MASHes.
That's a 4-letter word.
Not to put an S at the end of it.
That fucking threw me off my...
I don't know what an ER? No, that's a 2-letter word.
No, it's 5.
Saint Elsewhere.
Chat, what do you think, chat? Any of you do cryptic crosswords?
I'm just stuck on early TV medical drama.
Oh, popular medical drama, TV's first is lifeless.
Dead House?
No, the answer is inert.
Is that a TV show?
Is there a TV show called Inert?
Let me explain. If you take the whole sentence, you won't get it. You're supposed to take the sentence apart. Popular in medical drama, ER. TV's first. T. The
This is like
whole-
a blueprints puzzle. This is like we're in the gallery.
The
We're trying to get
whole
fucking
making a
tricked.
word that
Where's my
means
key?
lifeless. Inert.
Yeah, where's my key? Give me that
Give
gem.
me the secret garden key.
Give me them gems.
No. Well, what do you mean? How the fuck was I supposed to get that, Ash Karma? I got
You
it.
just explained it.
Yeah,
Because
I feel like I could get them now that I understand the rules.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Riddle rules.
The rules.
That's how cryptic crosswords work. They've always worked that way.
At first, I thought you said cryptid crosswords, and I thought you were
Cryptic
talking about like the
crosswords.
I would
Mothman
fucking smash a cryptid
and a fucking
crossword.
Yeti. Could you imagine?
Oh my god.
Anyway, moving on, back on topic. Sorry, I just wanted to show off that I completed a cryptic crossword over the
Oh, that was
weekend.
great.
Hjorth87 gives 50 Danish kroner and says, I got tempted by the promotions for Empire of Sin by your old friend's wife. I really wanted a new gangsters, but they focus too much on combat, IMO. Yeah, Empire of Sin, John Ramiro's wife's open world, really complicated sort of systems-based gangster up.
Oh. A gang 'em up?
Yeah,
Hang 'em up.
I never got around to playing that in the end. I heard it was quite good.
I've not heard of it.
Dr. Theogus $5 says, is it weird that sometimes I like to think of my own ads for games that don't exist while listening to music? They're structured like a music video. I sometimes imagine music that will be on the soundtrack of the film version of whatever book I'm writing at the moment, and try to imagine
Oh,
like
interesting.
the scene with the music
Sure.
playing over it.
Yeah.
There's a comic book. I cannot remember the name of it right now because it's in England, but it had for each chapter of the comic book, it had a musical track that you would play with it. So it
Oh.
had a
That's neat.
soundtrack attached, and it was really cool because it
Yeah.
really sets a tone. It's lovely.
I want to say Watchmen. Every chapter was named after like a song lyric, like
Oh.
or a line from a poem.
Yeah.
Like one of the chapters was called Two Riders Were Approaching, which was a reference to All Along the Watchtower.
I like that.
But
That makes sense. A
anyway.
lot of iconic game trailers were scored to like popular
Oh,
songs. The
fucking
Mad
Gears
World
of War. Yeah, fucking slow, soulful, Mad World thing.
Seven Nation Army from Battlefield 1.
That's right. Yeah.
Mm.
That trailer fucks.
Yeah.
That is a
Yeah.
really good trailer.
Well, I think that mainly just because the song fucks.
That is true. But I'm a believer in, as a sound designer composer, like if you get a good backing track, anything will be good.
Etc. Dr. Theo gives $5 and says, no, done that one. John Brooks gives £20 and says, advertising the works on me, second wind recommendations. I've picked up so many you have featured, it's quite disconcerting. Happy birthday, Yards. 83 kids are the best after all. Yeah, did you hear that, game publishers? You should send review codes to Second Wind. Always.
Yay.
And if your game's good, then they'll get a recommendation. And you think your game's good, right? Or you wouldn't be trying to sell it.
Or pay us to write little ads for your game because our ads are charming and fun and have life to them and people enjoy them.
Yes, and they certainly don't skip over them after watching them 15 fucking times.
They can't. It's illegal.
Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, Rayman Legends launch trailer always make me dance.
Was that to one of the songs from like because weren't there
Probably.
levels to
Yeah.
like Queen songs and stuff like that?
Yeah, Rayman was always very strong from a musical perspective.
Yeah.
Man,
Shout out to
those
the
games
French.
are so good.
Spider William 13 gives $5. Says, I do remember a trailer for a cozy delivery game in space made by some devilishly handsome sex god that made me buy the game. Can't quite remember who. Well, I can't take credit for the trailers because Omar cut those together.
Oh, Omar.
I paid him.
Yeah.
It was like off the books work.
Government's
if
gonna go
you-
for you guys.
If you work with a gaming media company, might as well like make use
Oh,
of
yeah,
it.
lean on people's strengths. Like we have
Yeah.
incredible editors. here.
That's what
Yeah,
I
now
say.
we have a division of
Yeah.
the company, right?
That's how
that
good
does
of the
that.
editors
Yeah.
we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Savratha, member for 16 months in the Green Gang, says, Happy 69th BD. You're not that age, but you're nice. Fair enough. Well, my
Aw.
birthday is the 24th. 420. Nice.
Blaze it. That's 520. What?
What?
That's 524.
Yeah, but the day is 24. So, and if you put the 4 in front of the 20, you get 420.
Okay, well, are we back in one of those cryptid puzzles?
Well,
Yeah,
moving on.
24, 20. I'm confused.
More Ink 75 gives $10 Canadian and gives his little salute emoji thing.
Hey, thanks.
And then Snake in the Garden gives €2 and says, forget ads only if Marty recos, e.g. Fantasy Life
Yeah, Fantasy Life. Hot new game. It's you know how we tend to say that any game that is the every game is a game for no one. If you try to be the everything game, this is the first game that is the everything game and it's for everyone. And it's the greatest game ever made.
Oh my god.
I hadn't heard about it. Is that out now?
It is blowing up the Steam charts. It's in the account if you want to try it out. I think you'll fucking hate it.
Okay. Well, I didn't have much else to play this week.
Give it a little whirl. See if you like it.
Perhaps I will. I mean,
I'm doing a video essay on it about how it's the most dangerous game of the year because
this is one of those. Yeah, this is one of those weeks where I just play everything I can get my hands on Monday and hope to find something to stick with for the rest of the week.
You know what happens next week? Switch 2. Although you probably won't have yours until the end of the week if I don't get mine until Thursday.
So I could probably find something else to keep my thumbs occupied.
A new Elden Ring comes out. Elden Ring
but it's a multiplayer thing. I hate
just
multiplayer.
Play with me, you twat.
I don't wanna.
Fuck's
you didn't
sake.
even play. You didn't even play Erd Tree, did you?
No, I didn't even finish base Elden Ring.
Damn.
Alex Armstrong comes back with $2 and says, Sonic Heroes 2 level demo made me into a Sonic fan. Yeah, demos. No, always.
Was that the one where he was running in San Francisco from that evil truck? It just had the word gun on the side of it?
It just says gun.
This isn't Sonic Adventure 2. Are you lying to us, Eric?
Yeah.
This is Sonic Heroes. Oh, Sonic Heroes 2 level demo. Sorry, I thought it said Sonic Adventure 2.
Oh, how embarrassing for a professional.
It is incredibly embarrassing. In my defense, I wasn't paying attention.
Snake in the Garden gives €2. It says, Kellogg's and Bullfrog was great. Got me into PC gaming. I hadn't heard of that. Did Bullfrog have a cereal mascot crossover thing? That's something we didn't bring up. Crossovers. I mean, that was the whole Persona 5 Smash marketing thing.
Yeah, I forgot about our thing. Well, first off, Smash trailers were always really fucking good, but that one started off like a Persona trailer. You thought it was a Persona spinoff, and then when Joker gets the calling card at the end, it's got the Smash logo on it, and the world changed.
I always think of Mortal Kombat guest characters. Because I remember when they did Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe, I remember saying, oh, bless. They got all jealous at Marvel vs. Capcom. But then, it seems like they choose their guest characters for Mortal Kombat now by, randomly throwing darts at popular culture generally.
Yeah. And a lot of times it, leans towards, the 80s. It's like, here's the Predator, and here's Arnold.
What did MK11 have? MK11 had the Terminator, Rambo, RoboCop... Spawn and Hellboy and the Joker.
Yep,
how does that make the first amount of lick of fucking sense? I'm going to correct myself before someone else does. Hellboy was in Justice 2, not Mortal Kombat. Though Injustice 2 had its fair share of weirdos. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles showed up in that.
Yes, some of those. Yeah, that is weird. Yeah, some of those. Some of the crossovers are really weird. Soul Calibur 2 having the specific one for each platform, and Link was the one for GameCube. I think Spawn was for Xbox, and Heihachi was for
what was the one where one of them had Yoda and one of them had Darth Vader?
I think that was the next one. I think that was Soul Calibur 3. Yeah. I know Dead by Daylight obviously still does that. Fortnite might be the king of that, and they generally tether it to a big new release, so it'll be I think Fantastic Four movie's coming out, so you could be these fucking goons.
Partly Dead by Daylight is sort of using famous other popular culture horror characters to sort of maintain its own relevance to a certain extent. Yeah.
They're even doing there was a crossover with Assassin's Creed Shadows. And I'm like, well, that's not a horror thing. What? That's just a game.
Yeah, I mean, when you say horror, Dead by Daylight's covering a lot of bases. I mean, they've got Michael Myers in there. They've got Pinhead from Hellraiser, and they've got Dracula from Castlevania. Those are like the 3 points of the triangle of horror.
But
I believe, yeah.
At least you can make an argument for those horror. Like, how do you make an argument for Assassin's Creed Shadows?
Shadows are dark.
Well, there's a lot of murdering.
Shadows are dark. Shadows are
Lots
dark.
of murdering happens.
There is lots of murdering.
Missed one. Whiplash SL gives $10. Does anyone remember what Warner Brothers did with Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, where they encouraged game reviewers to write positive reviews for the game, even though the game was already incredible? See, I hadn't remembered that particular scandal, and it goes to show that if your game is good, we'll forgive a lot in the end. I think everyone complained how long it took Team Fortress 2 to come out, but when it came out, it was actually good, so no one remembers that it took too long to come out.
I mean, I also just don't. Oh no, this wasn't. If this is what I was thinking of, they got in trouble because the FTC found that Warner Brothers deceived customers by paying YouTube influencers to promote the video without proper disclosure. So it was like PewDiePie. So again, this is one of those things. Like the critics did nothing. Like the actual critics did nothing wrong. It was, and also it's not wrong to pay an influencer to play your game, but just fucking.
You have to disclose it.
Disclose it. Just put it there. Yeah. Like we have a sponsored stream later today, and it's a sponsored stream, and it's going to say sponsored stream on it.
Boom.
Roasted.
Sorry, what's the name of that game you said was really good that's in the account, Marty?
Fantasy Life I, the girl who's something through time.
Oh, is this weeb? Is this weeb
It
shit?
is weeb. It is weeb, but it is also it's Stardew Valley plus Animal Crossing plus Breath of the Wild plus Diablo plus just name any other game.
All right. I'll just install it. I'll just set it to install while I was waiting for you to shut up. Forfall Mark II gives $2 and says, "Kind of hard to top Super Mario Brothers 3's US premiere in a movie." Yeah, that's
true.
like the one
Wizard.
The one example of that.
Nah, Marty, you're wrong. It was premiered in The Wiz. Toto came out with.
Michael Jackson started playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is insane. For people who don't know, there was a movie in, I believe, 1990 called The Wizard about a couple, like two siblings who had to get across America to get to a Nintendo tournament, like a Nintendo World Tournament. And at the end of the tournament, they got to play a brand new Mario game, which was Mario 3. And that was the first time anyone on Earth had seen Mario 3.
Yeah. It was the reveal of the Power Glove as well, right?
The Power Glove, it's so rad. Yeah.
You could never do that in today's 24-hour hype cycle, could you?
No.
Everyone would,
because the clip would just get posted, right? The need to go see a movie for a thing is,
and everyone would have already known that Super Mario Bros. 3 was a thing because they'd have announced it in like Nintendo Direct, like a year previous.
Yeah.
Anyway, Steelclad Gamer gives $2.76 Canadian dollars and says positive reviews are the best marketing. I might paraphrase that, Steelclad Gamer, and say counterpoint: making an actually good fucking game is the best marketing.
Word of mouth is extremely strong.
Yeah. Blistered Soul gives $1.99 and says Scott Cawthon's website's misleading puzzle pics.
Is Scott Cawthon? He's the Five Nights at Freddy's guy.
Is he? No. Is he? Who is that?
Yeah, he's a Five Nights at Freddy guy. He created Five Nights at Freddy's. I don't know anything about him though. I don't know what this thing is. It looks like he's got his like a weird little dick in this picture that Eric has.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. That's the trouble with pixel art at this scale. There's a lot of things that can become a dick.
What kind of dick? A weird little dick. I already told you.
Rorschach.
No, this is a cryptid puzzle. Spot his dick.
Yeah.
It's the two dots on the top left, right?
Yeah. I wasn't thinking of that.
Yes, that's why he's so perturbed.
My dick.
No, those are his bollocks.
Oh no, they've been removed.
Alex Armstrong gives $5. Says, I remember Ubisoft's live-action ad where Vars's VA released from an asylum recorded lines for Far Cry 3. Same with Far Cry 5's live event with the Father Joseph actor.
See, that's pretty smart.
Well, again, those were like good games.
Yeah.
Which certainly helps. Last Moses gives 125 somethings and says, how would you tastelessly advertise the last game you enjoyed? Ooh, good question. Because the last game I enjoyed was Promise Mascot Agency. Probably something with big tits, like a magazine ad, ladies in bikinis, and with like their faces replaced with hideous mascot heads. And then like a slogan with something like "Made you look."
The last game I enjoyed was Lies of P, and I would
That's
send.
man, you're hard to
influencers-
please. That was a while back.
I hadn't fully played it, so I played it recently, like the last game I played, and
Okay.
I would send influencers giant twink dolls, and I'd let them do what they will.
And for me, it would be Claire Obscure, and the ad would be Escar, go to the store and pick up a copy of Claire Obscure because it's a ton of fun.
Not really tasteless. That's just bad.
No, I thought that was really good. I also just spent $50,000 on this ad, so do not tell me it's bad.
And,
Like,
and
I've emptied my savings account. I have everything riding on an ad for this game.
You know, I was thinking about
there's-
like bad writing in games, and I suddenly remembered a line from I think it was Injustice 2, and which I realized in retrospect was actually a really good line, like really nuanced in its goodness and wit. And it's because they were bound to like stop clock twice a day because there's so many different exchanges between the characters in Injustice 2 depending on what pairing arrive at the fight. But specifically, it was Joker versus Joker. And there's like a 3-line exchange where the first Joker goes, 2 Jokers, like a deck of cards. Other one goes, but we only need 1. And the first one goes, right, because we're not playing with a full deck. I thought that's a really clever line. Why have you got like why have you got one really clever line in this whole game, Injustice 2?
I like it. Wander, stop the presses. We have a good game on our hands.
Okay, stop now. Dr. Theo gives $5. So speaking of Scott Cawthon, have you guys seen The Desolate Hope? It was his biggest game before FNAF. It's the longest he's ever worked on a game. Oh, that could really fuck you up as a creator, can't it? You pour your life into one specific epic experience, and then you make some shitty little thing that you don't care about, which is the thing that massively takes off. Poor
The
bastard.
art in this game is so much more appealing to me than the art in Five Nights at Freddy's. Why does he just make this game instead? Also, I think that dude kind of sucks. But
yeah,
that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Yes, he's successful, asshole.
Everyone who's successful sucks.
Squirtle Squad 420 gives $10 and says, American McGee's Alice had some pretty gruesome looking full page ads in PC Mag. The second I had the ability to buy it on my own, which was years later, I did. Yeah, there was something about PC Game magazine ads. I'm remembering another one now. The slogan was, you will need 1 brain and 1 pair of balls. I forget what game it was, so, well, guess it was pointless. Guess it was a really bad marketing campaign.
You will need 1 brain and 1 pair of balls.
And then underneath that, there was like a blood-stained brain and a blood-stained pair of disembodied testicles on a workbench.
I love it.
Very realistic, very photographed, like ultra realistic. And I remember buying one magazine where they censored the brain and the balls out with a big black box.
Puritans.
Because it was too gory for the kiddies. Alex Armstrong gives $5 and says, I like YouTube videos that are secretly ads indie animators collab with AAA companies for, like terminal montages. There's something about Shadow the Hedgehog.
What does that mean? YouTube videos that are secretly ads indie animators collab with AAA companies for.
I'll tell you what it made me think of. Joke dating sims that developers come out with to advertise larger franchises.
Oh, gotcha.
Like
there was a Dead by Daylight one.
Yeah. There was the Sonic the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog thing.
Yeah. Kind of like a goof game.
Yeah. And there was the Kentucky Fried Chicken one.
Right. And I mean, would the Burger King trio of 360 games count as that?
Those were actually trying to be games, and they were terrible.
They were.
So probably best not thought about. The Bungle Cat gives $10 and says, the new Sonic movie got me to buy Sonic X Shadow Generations. Can't think of any other video game based movies stroke shows that got me to do that, though.
Yeah, I'm sure there's.
Like I said in my semi-emblematic about movies based on video games, I don't believe anyone went into the Mario movie not knowing what Mario was beforehand.
Yeah.
I don't know how much cross-promotion Mario gets out of it.
I think for Mario that works. That being said, I think there's evidence that stuff like Fallout and The Last of Us saw big spikes in sales / downloads after the Amazon show, and I think it works more for kind of things on platforms aimed at like prestige TV audiences that are like, what the fuck is this thing? This is based on a video game?
Yeah.
They exposed it to the normies, and the normies ruined it, as they always do.
Yeah, I kind of the start, like one of the start of like Cyberpunk's redemption, I think, was Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Like people watch this and were like, "Holy shit, this is one of the best shows of the year!" And then Phantom Liberty came out, and there you go.
Zaratha gives $20 says, one fail I can't forget is for the League of Legends virtual card game. Wonderful trailers made by the Arcane studio, but with no gameplay, and with a name like Legends of Runeterra, most assumed it was a mini-series. R.I.P. LOR salute. Legends of Runeterra, yes.
Yeah.
It's funny, that is an example of a thing where I don't know anyone who watched Arcane, enjoyed it, and then went to play League of Legends. I know a ton of people were like, that was rad, and no one has any desire to play League of Legends.
I only know
like generally
people who watched it were like, oh, this is from a game called League of Legends, and then everyone who plays League, including me, saw people do that and go, don't fucking
this
do
is
it.
not, you're not going to get the experience. Like Fallout, you could get a little bit of the experience of the TV show by playing Fallout. League of Legends, no, you can't.
No.
All right then. Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, Argonaut coming back made me buy the Croc remaster. I remember playing the original Croc. I remember thinking it was awful.
Yeah. Because it was short for Croc of shit.
3D
platformers. I feel like Croc is like a big
3D.
British game. I don't think Americans have the same respect for Croc that the Brits do.
I suppose.
No respect for Croc.
It's in your DNA. You don't realize how much you respect Croc.
Hey, Grand Theft Auto is a British game.
That is true.
People seem to forget that because it's always set in
America. Yeah, there was one expansion for GTA 1 called London 1969.
That would be a fun place for a GTA game. What am I just making an Austin Powers game?
Yes, thank you. Well, the thing is, like London 1969 didn't really work because it was using like the format of GTA 1, which was set in a grid-based American city, and the city that you can't just paste like red phone boxes on top of a grid-based city and say it's London, because that's not how European cities are laid out.
Sure.
That's what would make it so interesting, though, to be able to navigate those streets. Was that kind of translated into what was it, Watch Dogs 3?
3? It just felt like a city to me, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I don't know much about it.
You could have told me there was Boston. I'd be like, all right.
I don't know much about it besides the fact that I wrote dialogue for it.
Oh my god. Watch Dogs 3 and Near Mage?
There you go. Well, I didn't write for Near Mage, I just voiced a character.
Incredible. You wrote Death Stranding 2?
Yes. Geldon said,
what if we put this on the beach?
Yes, I am Hideo Kojima. I've been living a lie, a double life this whole time.
Take the mask off, lose his ability to speak English.
Geldon Yetage gives $10 and says, the trailer drops, it's playing Fairy Raid by the Grim Fairies. Prototype 3D graphics, a man in a mocap suit does a barrel roll. Hype maximized, hard cancelled. Damn you, EA, for Ultima Online 2. Man, was that like a poem? Was that like beat poetry, Geldon Yetage?
I thought it was beautiful.
Poetry.
I just needed a pair of bongos. Dr. Theo gives $2 and says basically every Valve game has good ads. Yeah, the good ad is there being a very good game.
Do they have ads?
I can't remember.
I can't think of a. I guess there was a trailer for Portal 2 during the PlayStation 2010 E3 conference, and it was a big deal that Portal was coming to PlayStation. But that's all I remember. Gordon Freeman is so ugly if you zoom in on his face. Look at that. His little beady eyes.
That's the ad, dude. It's
like fucking Boomhauer from.
I've seen multiple attempts to depict Gordon Freeman, and all of them would look like different men if they shaved off their beard and took their glasses off.
He looks like if you combined all of the band members of Weezer into one person.
How old are Weezer now? I always think of them as a band full of young dudes. But,
like 25-year-olds, but that was like
yeah.
30 years ago.
No, I was thinking that the other day where I was like, oh, I really want to get in contact with the guys who made Terraria. Like, I love Terraria. And I'm like, I think of them as scrappy young indie people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second, the game came out like, what is it, like 15 years ago or something stupid?
Yeah, and they're rich now. So, yeah.
Blistered Soul gives $1.99 and says, think indie YouTube devlog series are marketing. Well, I can only speak for personal experience, Blistered Soul, and I can tell you that Starstruck Vagabonds sold better than any other game I put out commercially.
Yeah, I think marketing doesn't have to, like, anything is, marketing. Yeah, behind the scenes, documentaries, Vidocs, chronicling your own game, streaming
making
your
people
own game,
aware,
talking about the process.
I guess it worked for Game Maker's Toolkit Man because he's announced his next game on YouTube.
That's right. It's like a word game.
YouTube devlog series. I know.
Wordplay, I think it's called.
I know. It's Balatro Scrabble, just like the 5 other Balatro Scrabble games I've played thus far.
The demo's out. This could be for you. You can Yahtzee try it.
I probably will, because you know what I'm like with word games and cryptic crosswords
and
the like.
You love cryptids.
Someone make a cryptic crossword game. I'd be all over that. Oh, I guess Blueprint.
The change you want to see in the world.
There you go. Motion, member for 18 months in the Green Gang, says, finally caught this live. Cheers, lads.
Hey, thanks, Motion.
You're welcome.
And then Ryan Betts gives $5 and says, The Last of Us 2's trailers got me genuinely excited to play as Ellie and have Joel accompanying me on my revenge quest. Whoops.
I get tricked.
Aha.
Yeah, people were upset that they literally, like, there was a scene where Joel comes up behind Ellie and taps her on the shoulder, and she turns around and sees him. But in the game, it's actually Jesse, because it's long after Joel was no longer available for the journey.
I'm fine with trailers subverting my expectations. I think that works.
Even if it's something like the original Dead Island trailer that was completely unrepresentative of the final product.
That's different. I'm talking about like narrative subversions, not like this is exactly what the game's going to be like,
Okay. You mean like
anytime they showed like gameplay in The Last of Us, that is how you played The Last of Us. Like they weren't fucking around with that.
What about the demo for Metal Gear Solid 2? That made everyone think they were going to play Solid Snake through the whole game.
That is the genius marketing, right? Having the game completely like shift like a focus of the main character is amazing word of mouth, and it is only really doable back then, right? Where you would be going to fucking school to describe how mad you are that you're not playing as Snake, right? It's awesome.
Well, Eric Osterholm gives $4.99 and says nothing, as in the word. Ha! What a jest. Phil My Ass Up gives 100 Norwegian kroner and says, I can remember watching the E3 demo for Watch Dogs and being so impressed I bought the collector's edition, thinking I'd become a super fan. Boy, was I wrong.
They lied to us. And then I think the next year they lied to us again with The Division. They tricked us 2 years in a row.
Should have listened to us savvy gaming insider types.
Yeah, it might be easier to think about when did Ubisoft not lie to us with trailers. Like, that might be easier.
Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Fuck right off.
Well, that's
the Rayman trailers never lied to us. That's what that game was.
It's true.
Beyond Good and Evil 2's trailers are in a sort of Schrodinger's cat situation. Maybe every trailer that we've seen so far will prove accurate to the finished game.
There's a Twitter account that is called Is Beyond Good and Evil 2 out yet? And it posts no every day, and every day I like the post, and a bit of my soul dies every time.
That's probably going to outlive X at this point.
100%.
Humane Shield gives $4.99 and says, Aliens Colonial Marines was the last gaming advertising that worked on me, also killed the FOMO effect for me since.
Oh my gosh. Randy Pitchford, you've done it again.
Bloody, why is everyone up his ass again? I noticed, as I said, I don't look at behind the scenes bollocks.
On Twitter, somebody asked about $80 games, and He said something along the lines of, "If you're a true fan, you'll find a way to make it work."
Yeah, the person was like, "Hey, I hope you don't make Borderlands 4 $80," and he said, "If you're a true fan, you'll find a way to."
Incidentally, if you're a true fan of Second Wind, you'd better subscribe to the Patreon. That's how
That's
you show
true.
it.
That's true. It's not true when it comes to Borderlands 4, but it is true when it comes to Second Wind.
Yes.
Yeah.
No true Scotsman and whatnot.
Don't be a
I think you
poser.
might have skipped Tsunami D.
Well, it hardly seemed necessary. Tsunami Dusha gave $20 and uttered not a single phrase, nor word, nor clause in their defense.
What if Tsunami Doucher is saving
Thank
this
you.
all up and one day is just going to post like a manifesto?
What if Tsunami Doucher is actually Randy Pitchford and we've just lost?
Oh
one of our top
no!
tier
I'm sorry. I
supporters?
love magic.
What if
No, if
every
you-
week?
If you are,
What if it-
please leave.
What if every week Tsunami Dusha is actually posting some really salient point, but he doesn't realize he's been shadow banned by YouTube?
Or ends everything with like the smiley face. If you do a smiley face emoji, it like erases everything from beforehand.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know why
my
these
God.
guys don't read my message.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
They're trying to talk.
Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, "Mates love the OG Smash Brothers and Luigi's Mansion ad."
OG Smash Brothers was great. This was to imagine me and you. I do. I think, and then they're walking through the Happy Together, the turtle song, and then they're walking through this prairie and beating the shit out of each other.
They look like they're in the Teletubbies set. It's weird.
It does, right? It would have been the era.
The Platinum Kush gives $4.99 and says, "All I look for in trailers is actual gameplay. You'll be lucky. Beautiful cinematics tells me nothing about what it'll actually be like to play the game."
This is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, welcome to 10 years ago, the Platinum Kush.
Show us video gameplay.
Gameplay
Or- or
trailers. Yeah.
Release a demo, even.
Do it.
Yeah,
So we
because
see
you can't,
what-
as we were saying, you can't trust gameplay trailers anymore.
No. So even like the stuff that isn't pre-rendered, it's being played by someone who's 100% familiar with it. I want to see how it plays when someone who isn't 100% familiar with it plays
Yeah, when a fucking dumb noob is running around.
it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Alex Armstrong gives $2 and says, "The Starstruck Vagabonds crew waifus made me get it." Yes, I had a feeling that would be appealing. That's why I emphasized it.
I mean,
There's a snake lady waifu.
that is a kind of like advertising is getting people to form relationships with the characters that extends beyond the boundaries of the game. Like I think that's something that Persona does really well, and people like
Yes.
Persona, Fire Emblem, like
Claire-
Who
Claire
can put
Obscure,
their hand,
yeah.
who can put their hand on their heart and claim they didn't at least idly look out for some porn manga of their preferred Persona waifu after they finished
Well,
playing a Persona game?
For
Amongst
me,
us.
the example that worked the best for me was Marty's advertising for Claire Obscure, like the baguette with the massive tits. It got me. I was like, I'm buying this.
It's really good. It says it'll make your nope. You know what I did? I censored myself.
Good.
That's called
Oh,
that's
fair
called a
enough.
character.
I'm
arc
really
right there.
glad.
There you go. Good on
I was
you.
going to use the word wee wee.
Moving on. Fungus Finder gives $2 and says, "Hey, happy birthday, Yahtzee. Chemistry has hard words. Zwitterian. That
Get
sounds
real.
like a German word for someone who talks too much."
I thought it was going to be a two-handed sword.
Yes,
That was a little Zweihander goof.
yes. Mr. Movies, etc. gives $5. It says, "I'm sure there were many, but the one that stands out to me was the original 1998 US Pokemon TV ad with the sweaty bus driver. Weird, but it worked. I remember that.
I don't.
I don't.
Was that the one with the psycho bus driver that crushed all the Pokemon into a little tiny cube inside the bus, and then it revealed he was playing it on the Game Boy Pocket?
Oh, that seems terrible. Yeah, I'm watching it right now.
Yeah, that's that.
Also-
yeah, that's the one.
Can you be a bus driver if you aren't sweaty? Also, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company would never allow this to happen now.
No, you
Christ
cannot harm.
almighty, they would never allow
harm
this
our
to happen.
characters, yeah.
They're getting
Have you s-
fucking smashed. This is bleak.
Dude,
Look
have
at
you
this.
seen? Have you seen some Japanese adverts?
But not for Pokemon.
I've seen
day, man.
Nintendo put Pokemon through more harrowing experiences.
Oh my god, they just got smushed by this sweaty man.
Yeah, but it's all right. They survive inside a Game Boy Pocket.
I mean, it is fucked up when you think about like what happens to Pokemon when you put them in a Pokeball, and what would happen if you would crush a Pokeball with like a pneumatic press.
They go to live on a farm forever, where they get to run through the fields, and the farmer's wife knits them little booties every night.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Oh God.
David gives £5 rather, and says, "Hey Yahtzee, have you played Bracket City? It's a nested clue puzzle game that seems up your street." No, I have not.
Bracket
it.
City. I don't know. I've never heard of Bracket City.
Is it on Steam?
Have you ever played Bracket Skipball?
Bracket City. Nope, it's not on Steam.
Oh, it's like in a browser.
Ew.
Wait, it's the Atlantic. Look how turned off we were by this free game.
Fungus Finder gives $2 and says, "I miss alternative reality games as advertising."
Bring them back.
Fair enough.
Start leaving little clues around your neighborhood, and people are going to start thinking you're the Zodiac Killer. That'll be great. Was that the original ARG, the Zodiac Killer?
Well, these days they'll think you're trying to be the Riddler from the Batman film, and they'll accuse you of being a big nerd.
See, the real way to do it for like ARG stuff is to leave like $100 and a note saying you found it. The next clue is at X coordinates. So they have the reward, so they feel invested, and then the next reward doesn't exist, and you just lead them off on a goose chase.
Oh, that's like the old prank where you release 3 pigs into a university campus with the numbers 1, 2, and 4 painted along their sides.
That's really good.
So they spend the rest of the week trying to find pig number 3.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
Hjort87 gives 20 Danish kroner. Says, "Just want to shout out Stray Gods. Just finished it. You know, it took me a while to pick up on the pun in that title. Stray Gods. It's like stray dogs, but with gods."
Is that the pun? This was the musical game, right?
I don't know. I think so.
Hey, I mean, speaking of dogs, there's a new game I've had my eye on over on Twitter. They're about to announce their Kickstarter. It's called Hounded, I believe. Sorry if I got that wrong. Yeah. Let me just check. Yeah, it's called Hounded, and it kind of looks like Stray, but dogs. In a way, they're about to release some proper trailers, and it's set in the Flintlock universe, I believe. I could be wrong about all of this, but the Kickstarter's coming out soon. I think we should keep an eye on it.
Flintlock has a universe.
Yeah, that's what the what was that Souls-like that was in the Flintlock?
Flintlock.
I assume that was
just a game.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't know it was in the universe.
I could be wrong. I may have just completely misrepresented their stuff. Check it out yourself.
It could be. I thought Flintlock was just a game. I didn't realize Flintlock was like like Pathfinder.
I believe it's a universe.
Warhammer or something. That's cool. I like dogs. Dogs are cool.
Well, there you go. Tsunami Dusha gives $2 and says, "Bioshock 1 ads were quite enthralling."
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
That's a good game.
That's because, you know...
Good game. Good game. Good game makes good marketing.
Big Brothers are just awesome.
Yes. Snake in the Garden gives €2 and says, "GMTK released a new word game. Play that." Yes, I know. He released a demo of a new word game.
A demonstration.
And I'm holding out for the full Monty, as it were.
It's been a busy boy. More power.
It's called Big Daddies, not Big Brothers, right?
Makes me wonder how much you could take.
Name.
Makes me wonder how much you could take out of that concept to make a demo out of it. I mean, surely the demo would pretty much just be the whole game.
I guess you'd play the first few levels.
Yeah, what would a Balacho demo be?
I know. That's my question. Would it just have much fewer jokers in it?
Yeah.
What, more like Penguins and Two Faces?
Maybe like a timer, so you can only play for like 10 minutes.
More clay faces and Membats?
Oh, I see. Yes, you were doing a thing.
Big clay faces. Yeah.
My Y Gun gives $2 Canadian. It says, "Fantasy Life is actually an old game from DS. 10 out of 10.
Fantasy Life was the first Fantasy Life was I think a 3DS game, and this is the follow-up, and now it's on everything, including Steam.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll check it out.
There you go.
I ain't got nothing else to do today. Although, frankly, I'm really struggling to think when I'm going to record my next law reading video, because I promised I'd do that this week. But
The script is
suddenly,
in.
I know, but I've got all these big open world games to play all of a sudden.
Fucking open world games, dude.
I know.
Just review a short game.
Oh, easy as that, is it? Fine, I'll just conjure an interesting short game from the ether. Híjole.
Well, you know what? I'll make you a game. You can review that.
Yeah, all right.
Easy.
How hard is
Good
it?
game. Sovereign gives €5. Says, surprised no one brought up Aliens Colonial Marines when talking about fake gameplay trailers, especially with old Randy being in the news recently. Again, welcome to 20 minutes ago, Sovereign.
It was
Yes, I know these. I know these.
That was the time to be alive.
I know you sent that super chat before we brought it up, but
Out of spite, we brought it up beforehand.
Sovereign, you've been around long enough to need to expect this sort of thing.
Radio.
Good old Analingus Dingus gives us $10 and says, the Halo 3 diorama trailer got me very excited for a game I was ultimately disappointed in, so there's that.
Halo used
Never
to
trust
have really good
trailers.
trailers.
Never trust trailers.
Halo used to
That's a
have
cool
really
trailer,
good
though.
trailers.
Alex Armstrong gives $2, says the Watch Dogs E3 trailer sure fooled Yahtzee. Did it? I've completely forgotten anything I might have said about Watch Dogs at the
He's
time of the trailer.
unfoolable. He's unfoolable. Get out of here. If you try to
was-
bring some
yeah.
clip of him being fooled, that was deep faked.
Yeah.
I'm unfoolable
As
and infallible.
Yeah, but you're certainly not unflappable.
Same word, just change some of the vowels around. Dr. Theo gives $2 and says, did none of you watch Meet the Team? Yeah, we watched Meet the Team. Those all came out after Team Fortress 2 came out.
I don't even know what Meet the Team is. I did not watch Meet the Team.
It's all of the Team Fortress 2
Oh, like little short
characters
short
going
movies.
through, little
Yeah.
short. Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
like the first one came out with the game, and the last one came out like 9 years later. They released the final comic book relatively recently. That took like 6 years.
I wonder if they ever had
Wow.
plans to like turn any of their things into. Well, I guess Portal was announced at some point as a movie. Like J.J. Abrams was producing it, and Dan Trachtenberg was going to direct it. But obviously,
I think the trouble with making an animated series out of Team Fortress 2 is how do you explain that premise outside of video games? Like, here's 9 dudes whose names are their job, and they all respawn and fight clones of themselves infinitely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would
You
have
gotta-
to be not
gotta-
based on the game. It would have to
Yeah,
be
you have to
like
make it
that
almost like a Dirty
cohort.
Dozen kind of story,
Yeah.
like they're men on a mission
Yeah.
kind of thing.
And at that point, you've gotten so far away from the essence of what it actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what if you had sniper, scout, and spy and all that, but they were actual characters with names and backstories, and they didn't just call each other sniper and spy.
They were all voiced by Chris
Yeah.
Pratt.
Yeah. Dr. Theo gives $2 and says the Left 4 Dead trailers are so good they were the intros.
I don't remember.
Yes,
Left
there's
Dead
more than a
trailers.
few games have done that. Some games put their trailer at the start of the game, especially if you leave the title screen for a little while.
Just
I
spoils
think
a
I
bunch
I
of
don't
shit.
mind that.
Well, it's a holdover from arcade days, isn't it? It's the attract
Yeah.
mode thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I miss it. I miss leaving the controller for a bit and coming back and just seeing some fucking intern playing the game really badly.
Well, it annoys me a bit because sometimes, I'll leave something on the title screen while I'm streaming, while I'm talking about something else, and then fucking videos start and distract from whatever I was talking about.
Yeah.
Humane Shield gives $1.99 and says, "Happy birthday, Yahtzee! One of the oddest advertising I remember was not a video game, but the Rainier beer running bottles campaign."
Rainier beer running bottles.
Here's an interesting fact about advertising. Did you know that if you're doing a TV ad for an alcoholic drink, at least in the UK, you're not allowed to specifically try to sell the drink? You're not allowed to imply that the drink has any sort of positive qualities or that drinking it is beneficial. And that's why alcohol ads are always really abstract,
Sure.
Yeah.
because they're legally not allowed to say that drinking this is good.
That's really funny.
The biggest culture shock I've had from coming to America is your drug adverts are
Oh, yeah.
just like super positive, like this thing's gonna change your life, and then
Yeah.
even longer amounts of time than they spend on telling you about the product, they'll tell you that it will kill you if you take it.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yes.
wild.
In a really fast-paced
Yeah.
narration. Side effects include suicidal thoughts, suicidal actions, and suicide.
Yep. But
Death.
it'll make
Yeah.
your small dick bigger. So think about that.
Yeah. And all this over
Make it worse.
footage of like a really happy man skipping through a field with his kids.
Getting beat up by the Smash Brothers characters.
Yeah. Saber Lily gives $5 and says the I Love Bees ARG I thought was very effective at getting me and friends excited for Halo 2.
Yeah, that's the one I always think of when I think of ARGs. That was the big one for Halo 2.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was about bees.
Oh.
Well, there you go. Justin gives $1.99 and says David K. I was spelling David wrong, so I don't know if he was doing a thing.
The master of
Overselling.
I mean, when he shows his games, they are what the game is like. It's just that the games are kind of bad. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the
except
demo,
for the Star Wars thing, which is fake.
The demo for I hate bringing up this game because I have to give both its titles. The demo for Fahrenheit / Indigo Prophecy got people really excited because everyone thought the rest of the game would be like the demo.
And that was what that section of the game was like, but it was also like the first 20 minutes of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then everything gets really stupid.
Yeah.
And it turns out you're like the Matrix Superman and you're dead and you come back to life and the main villain is the internet who was disguising itself as an old lady.
I'm starting to think David Cage might be bad at making games.
Has that come across?
I have a little theory. He might not be good.
One of
He's
the
bad at
all-time
he's
video
bad-
game hacks.
He's bad at making games and he's bad at writing stories. He's the full package.
One of the all-time video game hacks. Mount Rushmore of game
It's
hacks.
like I feel like he's the yin to Peter Molyneux's yang, right? Like they've got like two sides.
Like if they'd
sides
be
of
on
the
opposite
same
sides
coin.
of like a D&D character alignment thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone needs to come up with that now. Alignment chart.
With 9 video game auteurs, like where do Kojima? That's good.
Chaotic
Well,
good is
yeah.
Kojima.
Yeah,
Well,
chaotic good.
What would it be instead of chaotic good? It would be like over-promising and shit and shit. Overpromises produces shit.
Yeah,
And who would be in overpromises produces good games?
Kojima, I think, overpromises produces good games, right?
Okay, so it'll be undersells produces undersells versus oversells.
Yeah,
Produces shit produces good.
Wait.
And then neutral.
Let's nip this in the bud. This is next episode. This is next episode. We're doing
We're gonna figure this out.
the video game auteur alignment chart.
Yes. Sovereign gives €5. Says, do you remember when gameplay trailers for multiplayer games would have scripted banter between the players in the ad? Always found that cringy.
hated it.
I hate that.
Hated
Yeah.
it.
I remember that happening with the Anthem.
Anthem.
gameplay
Oh,
trailer.
it's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done, dude.
Yeah.
You just killed that man. Fuck off.
These people aren't real. And we can tell. Uncanny Valley.
Ugh.
Yeah, the dialogue equivalent of the Uncanny Valley.
Yeah.
A fella guy gives $10, says, just finished Expedition 33. Easily my game of the year. Any other recommendations for RPGs like that other than the Persona series? Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, if you like all the battle reaction stuff.
Yeah, if you really
Those-
want battle reaction stuff, that even the first South Park RPG.
Yeah.
that
And
stuff.
also, Claire Obscure also rips off Paper Mario's badge points system
it does.
while we're
yeah.
at it.
What
And
about
the-
Metaphor
the-
Refantasio?
That was a great one.
Yeah, that's a good one. If you like Persona, certainly.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a Persona game, but with
True.
a standard JRPG plot.
Yeah.
I believe
Francis
in
great.
Doo Man gives $2 and says Kirby Avalanche Zine adds Kirby is a pissed felon.
What?
Kirby.
Pissed felon is one of those 2-word phrases that looks like it's supposed to be an anagram. If you were solving a cryptic crossword, for example.
Yeah.
Look at him. What do you think Kirby went to jail for?
I didn't read that super chat correctly, so I thought he said Kirby is a piss felon, and I'm like, what did he do?
Oh no. Look at Kirby's got stubble in these ads. Oh my god. Do you think Kirby has to shave? Think about a hairy
That's-
Kirby.
I hate that. I actually hate that.
What a Kirby full of stubble?
Because when does he stop? When does the hair stop? Does he like wrap around to his ass?
It's Grundle, yeah.
I'd like
A
you all to
smooth-
know that I just
smooth
entered pissed felon into the internet anagram generator, and it's brought us such wonders as fondles pies, defines slop. That's my job, I think.
Hey,
Beans poles, spindle foes, enfolds piss. Man, there's a ton.
I would never
Fold
get
penis.
piss felon
Fold-
from those.
Fold penises.
There we go. Boom. Got it.
There you go. Well, Raven gives $2 and says either I missed it or you skipped my second comment. Yeah, I think you missed it, Raven.
You missed it because
right?
you said you were trying to offer
Yes.
services while tipping.
Yes, and that's what went into that whole cryptic crossword tangent.
Mm-hmm. Probably why you missed it.
Endless fob.
Too busy doing cryptid crosswords. I keep saying cryptid crosswords. I keep wanting that to be the
I
No,
want a
that's a-
cryptid crossword.
I mean, I'm sure such a thing exists.
I'm sure.
7 across, Loch Ness Monster.
Nessie.
Anyway, that'll be it from us because that was all the super chats. Yay, we did it at 11:30 again, just in time for me
Smashed
to
it.
start eating my lunch.
Delicious.
Yes, thank you for listening. I was Yahtzee Crowshaw, and presumably still am, and presumably still will be tomorrow, and on Wednesday when Fully Ramblomatic comes out, which this week will be, which was going to be on the subject of another game, but is actually, turns out I wanted to do a full review of Promise Mascot Agency, which I talked about in Yahtzee Tries on Sunday.
Ooh.
So now the full review's coming this week. Hope you'll enjoy that.
Boom.
No hints, but I think it's going to end up in one of my year-end roundup 5 lists.
One of the top 5 games with a severed pinky finger.
There you go. I've also got Yahtzee Tries this week. My usual weekly stream. Still haven't decided what we're playing on that, but we'll figure that out. And I have a semi-ramblomatic dropping on Thursday, which will be on the subject of parrying.
So prolific.
I know. I still don't get enough. I'm so prolific, and I still don't get enough shit done with my time.
Fuck's
Fucking
sake.
kids. Why the fuck did I have kids?
Because they're the light of your life.
Yes, because I love them very much. Of course, that is the reason.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and Adventurous Night on Saturday.
Nice.
Unless we're getting lazy for another week. With me in it as usual, and that'll be all my stuff. Now it's time for my boys here to plug their stuff as well.
The boys, we got a little curveball of a stream schedule this week. There's no hidden gems tonight. However, at 3 p.m. Central, so 90 minutes from now, Jack and Nick are going to be back with that aforementioned sponsored stream of Guards 2. So tune in for that. Tomorrow on the Rewind, Jay's going to be joining Darren and myself. We're going to be talking about Andor Season 2. A big ol' Andor Season 2 chat, as well as touching on other stuff we watch. Maybe we'll get some thoughts on the Elden Ring movie coming from A24 and Alex Garland. Yahtzee, are you excited for the Elden Ring movie?
Yes.
See?
Look how excited my face is.
You can tell by
That's
that
going to
voice.
be in the trailer.
That'll be in the trailer. And then on Thursday, you get a double dose of Darren this week at noon Central. So the normal time that Jack and Jess stream on Thursday. Darren and I are going to be taking over that because we're going to be doing a Last of Us Part 2 spoiler cast that is over some. Well, I'll be playing through the game and we'll be chatting about Season 2 of The Last of Us.
Boom.
And then Fungus Finder comes back with $2 and says, "Not Monday energy."
Oh, not yours. Oh, and then you guys on Friday, I think, Jay, right? You guys for DevHeads are going to be playing.
Yes. So, we got another gameplay focused DevHead stream because people seem to enjoy the last one. So we're going to take the opportunity to take a look at Elden Ring Night Rain. It's a free play game and there's free DevHeads. So it kind of fucking works.
Damn.
Doing that. And then other than that, the following Monday, I will have a new episode of Design Delve out on the prospective title right now is Lies of Please Stop Copying Dark Souls. So look forward to that. And that's me.
That doesn't really work as a pun.
Lies of P.
That's why it's a
Lies
perspective
of
title.
Please stop copying Dark
Yeah,
Souls.
capitalized, bolded.
Yeah, and we'll have, as a reminder, next week we'll have a bunch of the streaming schedule is going to be a little wonky, especially in the back half, and then over the weekend because of the launch of the Switch 2. As soon as one of us gets a grubby little hands on a console and Mario Kart, we're going to be showing that off probably
my
next
God, so
Thursday,
hyped.
the 5th, and then all that weekend will be Summer Game Fest. So we're going to be doing live watch-alongs of all those showcases. We'll have a full schedule for you shortly.
I have grubby big hands.
You do have grubby big hands. They're
Look
probably
how big
sticky.
they
They got a
are.
lot of honey on them.
Sticky and usually covered in flour.
Yeah, he's also
especially
wearing a
at the
crop top
weekends.
and no bottoms. That's just like Pooh
Yeah.
Bear.
Hmm. Yes, always. Okay, that'll be it from us. Bye,
Bye, everyone. Thanks for hanging, everyone. Bye.